My next guest downgraded shares of Twitter to neutral today, saying Musk could cast a long shadow for years to come over the company, and the likelihood of Twitter being taken private has risen. Let's bring in Rohit Kulkarni. He's an internet analyst at MKM Partners. Rohit, just to get this out of the way, wouldn't going private be a bullish thing, or do you think it wouldn't be much above current levels?
It would be a bullish sign. It would be a little bit above current levels, but not too high. The way I framed my upside downside scenario today was probably low 60s is where I think a go private or an upside scenario could shake out. So not too far away from where we are right now. But the downside here, Twitter loses users. Russia, Europe advertising trends are soft. So Q1, Q2 setup is not that bullish in my opinion. So downside is to almost $35 stock. So we think it's fair and balanced at these levels.
$35 is your downside, and you're warning that there were some headwinds going into this Musk news coming from Russia, Ukraine, Europe, and all the rest of it. You'd think those would be positive catalysts. There's been a lot of chatter about it. Shouldn't there be more engagement on Twitter's platform? And if not, why?
Even during some of the last, call it 3 to 6 quarters, Twitter has had issues holding on to users. There are new users coming onto Twitter, but in terms of holding on to users, Twitter has had a steady and probably an elevated step up in churn rates. If you look at what's happened in the last 6 quarters, they've added maybe 5 to 7 million users every quarter. Prior to that, during peak pandemic, they added more than 20 million. So again, the way last few quarters have trended, while we see that slight step up in users is possible, but we don't see that completely deviating from what we saw in the last 6 quarters. So, yeah.
If Musk found a way to bring Trump back on the platform, would the stock be a buy? And if not, or if that's unlikely, what else would be a positive catalyst?
In terms of a positive catalyst, again, Twitter is a classic show me story in my book. They need to show that they can add users, they can hold on to those users, and those users can engage. We have seen many quarters where users have come onto the platform, and a couple quarters later, we have had negative user trends. So there is a possibility that we may get excited by one quarter phenomenon where users come onto the platform, but a quarter later, we actually see users go away. So I think the engagement with what Twitter can do to hold on to those users, be it audio, be it video, subscriptions, I think all those things need to come together. A cohesive consumer app is what is missing at Twitter right now.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that even anything that would bring new people in, they don't tend to stick around. So a lot of the excitement that I've heard is from users or the public in general who thinks this will move Twitter in a decentralized way that allows them to see more experimentation on their platform, what some would call more free speech. I don't quite understand that. I think advertisers like the platform the way it is now with a little bit more curation, let's say. It probably gives them some comfort, becomes less of a headache for them. Which way do you think this is likely to go?
This is a very hard problem for a company of Twitter's size and scale to solve in terms of the velocity of information that they have and the likelihood of having some misinformation slip through as they are a real-time engagement platform. So Twitter needs to walk that fine line, and it has been very hard over the last, call it, couple of years for them to tread that very carefully. It's an expensive problem. They need to moderate content to a certain degree, but they also need to help have free speech. I feel there is no clear way to solve this problem, and that's where Twitter is struggling. Open source algorithms have been toyed around by Jack Dorsey in the past. Again, how they would play out a true Web 3.0 platform, it would take months, if not years in the making.
Final question then. It sounds like you would be more bullish if they pursued more of the monetization of the existing user base. Is that right? What would you like to see in that vein?
Twitter has been doing a lot on performance marketing, direct response marketing, which is the basic kind of a gravy train, if you will, for large platforms like Facebook, Instagram, even TikTok and Snap are doing a pretty good job in that. Last year, Analyst Day, that's been the main goal and product target for Twitter. We are yet to see real traction of direct response advertising that Twitter can do and just essentially elevate their monetization game plan. They're still very early. If Twitter shows traction in that, I think Twitter can do wonders with monetization.